A lot of people are afraid of failure, and so they never try anything in life. They never attempt that project. They never write that book. They never start that podcast because they're afraid that if they do, they're going to fail. And failing is a worse feeling than actually just kind of withdrawing from the world.
Yeah.
So you have to now force yourself. It's not easy to actually try and execute all those projects that are in your mind.
Yeah.
But you have to do it with baby steps. You have to try something small first, and overcome your fear of failure.
The majority of the fears that we have are not life or death fears. They're not those kind of fears. But through our imagination, we blow them out of proportion and we give them more power than they actually have or deserve, and we permit them to govern our lives. What are the things that you fear that's been keeping you from living your dream, that's been keeping you from doing some things that you would like to do? Just think about those things. And how do we begin to handle that? Abraham Maslow said that life is about growth. And he said, you can either go back to your comfort zone, and there you won't find any growth, or you must be willing to go forward and face your fears again and again and again. Because you're never going to have a fear-free existence. I mean, some fear is acceptable and legitimate. There are some things that you really should be afraid of. Now, you shouldn't allow it to immobilize you. You acknowledge it, you take it into account, and you carry yourself accordingly. There are times that we should proceed with caution. But it's the difference between being stopped by fear. It's the difference between having a fear and the fear having you.
What happens in the fearful mind, it starts asking this question, what if? What if this terrible thing happens? What if this terrible thing happens? What if this terrible thing happens? And we generate and we stew within our gut these acids and these fears that literally trick our mind into thinking we can't change. The reason people get stuck sometimes is they're unwilling to push through their fears, through their discomforts. And the reason it is because they got disappointed, they got hurt, there's an emotional stuck there. And all you can do is you just gotta go, I gotta push into those things. Okay, I'm scared of it, but I'm gonna lean into it, I'm gonna push into it, I'm just gonna keep going until I break through. Don't avoid the fear, don't avoid the anxiety, don't avoid the trouble. They're always going to be there. They're not going to go away. They're always going to be there. The question is, are they in control? The question is, are they at the wheel? Or are you at the wheel? Are they captaining your ship or you're the captain? Are you playing victim or are you playing victor into those things? That's the question. Apply that. Push again. Find something you're excited to push against. If you're stuck because of your fears, you need to give yourself permission to push into it and to say, I'm going to get in the ring again. I don't know how it's going to go. I'm probably getting punched around a little bit by life because I've been on my ass for a little while. But I'm going to get in there. I'm going to learn to take the swings. I'm going to learn how to fight. I'm going to get back into this thing, and I'll stay in it. I'll get over it. You need to push.
Anything that makes me feel that fear feeling is going to get overcome. Fear is my ultimate guide. The worst thing in life that happens to a man is they get civilized, or a woman, anybody.
Yeah.
Because you lose the hunger for life. That's my biggest fear, is I get to the point where life has come to me and I have that feeling of I've arrived. Most of life, you're alone. Up here, you're alone.
Yeah, we can be our worst enemy.
You're trying to collapse the universe of outcomes such that what you've lost is freedom. You've lost the ability to act because you're afraid.
Failure is a massive part of being able to be successful. You have to get comfortable with failure. Failure is where all of the lessons are. You know, when you go to the gym and you work out, you want to take your muscles to the point where you get to failure because that's where the adaptation is. That's where growth is. You gotta take a shot. You have to live at the edge of your capabilities. You gotta live where you're almost certain you're gonna fail. That's the reason for practice. Practice is controlled failure. You're getting to your limit, getting to your limit, getting to your limit. You can't lift that, you can't do that, until you get to the point that all of a sudden your body makes the adjustment and then you can do it. Failure actually helps you to recognize the areas where you need to evolve. So fail early, fail often, fail forward.
It's hard. There's something that you're facing, some decision, you got to make something you're handling, and it's very difficult, very challenging. Here's what I'm suggesting. It's not going to be a cakewalk. You can't stroll to your goal. Once you take that into account, face the fact it's hard and go through with it. Do what you got to do. Do it. Because what you become in the process, if you hang in there, what you become as a person, the kind of spiritual growth, personal growth, the kind of commitment, the kind of things that you have within you now showing and revealing themselves that you would have not have known was there had you not gone through this. The harder the challenge, the greater the growth.
I always get through something. In the moment when you are going through something, it is awful and it can be heart-wrenching. You can feel it physically, you can feel alone, you can feel scared. Whatever feeling comes when something bad is happening in your life, but you get through it. And when you get through it, you look back and you're always like, oh, I wish I could have told myself, like, stop stressing, stop overthinking, stop. So what I've had to do is in the moments of crisis, when I'm freaking out, having a panic attack, anxiety, I'm like, okay, hold on. In 2 days, this will be over. Let's go on a walk. Let's take a breath. Let's call people I love. So like, it's not as bad as it feels.
Never complain, never explain. And what it means is, don't complain about life. Don't explain what you're doing or why you're doing it. Just do it. By whining and complaining, all you're doing is making people think bad things about you, looking weak. And when you complain a lot, you have a mindset where everything is kind of a potential complaint. Stop whining and stop explaining yourself and just do things in the world and let your actions speak for themselves.
Life is easier if you don't need anybody, and it can be a lot easier if you want nothing more than what's in the back of the car. But that can be a solitary life, and a lot of times being solitary can be confused with being lonely.
Nobody changes until they change their energy, and when you change your energy, you change your life. Don't expect anything in your life to change if your environment is controlling your feelings and thoughts. And if your environment is controlling how you feel and think, and I say to you, Aubrey, why are you so upset today? Oh, well, this person is upsetting me. What you're really saying is that person is controlling your feelings and your thoughts, and that means you're a victim to your environment. So to turn that around and you start realizing your feelings and thoughts create your environment, and you start seeing the effects of you at cause, you're going to react less to the people in your life because you're going to understand that you'll be back to the victim consciousness. And when you start seeing that you're creating outcomes in your life, you're going to believe more that you're the creator of your life and less the victim of your life. And I say, the more you practice it, the better you get at it.
You want to change your life today? Make a decision. Like, focus on what you want, focusing on instead of what you don't want, right? Focus on where you want to go instead of what you're afraid of. Now would be a good time for you to go after what you want, not wait another day. People don't do it because they go, I don't know where to start. Do whatever's next. Try anything. If it's wrong, try something else. That doesn't work. Try something else and you'll find it right now. Tell me how you're going to be closer to your dream at the end of these 6 months than if you don't take action versus if you take action today. Do not wait. Do something that commits you to follow through later on. That's how our life changes. Little steps and big steps. And the big ones move us faster. And they take courage. Courage doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you're scared, but you do it anyway.
If you keep thinking yesterday's thoughts, you'll keep living yesterday's life. That's not destiny. That's a habit loop. If your thoughts affect how you feel, and your feelings in any given moment affect how you behave in that moment, then your thoughts are controlling your life, so change them. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are the awareness watching it all unfold. So today, think a new thought, feel a new emotion, and reality will follow. Because when you remember you're the observer, you stop being the prisoner.
When you focus on something, the world just kind of opens up, but you have to be focusing on the right thing. So if you were meant to be a writer and then you decide because you want money to go into law school and then you focus very deeply on law school, what will happen is for a year or two, you'll be able to skid by, but then the wheels will start going slower and slower because you're not interested in it. You're not connected to it. You get bored and your focus will start falling to pieces. But if it's something you love, you can focus on that for 7, 8, 10, 12 years and never get bored.
You start with the small wins, the small things that you know you can control. Once you build that confidence, it'll lead you to bigger and bigger success. Because life is about building blocks. It's not about one success. Whether you look at Kobe Bryant winning championships or Michael Jordan, they didn't win the championships on that court. They won it with all the repetition and the action of the small habits over an extended period of time.
To be successful at anything, the truth is you don't have to be special. You just have to be what most people aren't. Consistent, determined, and willing to work for it. No shortcuts, integrity, purpose, determination, and discipline that it takes to be a champion in life.
What's interesting here is that everybody wants a transformation, right? Everybody wants a radical improvement, want rapid success, but we fail to realize that small habits and little choices are transforming us every day already. For the rest of this talk, there are 4 stages of habit formation. I'm going to take you through each of those 4. So the 4 stages are noticing, wanting, doing, and liking. Noticing, wanting, doing, and liking. One of my favorite things about noticing, one of my favorite strategies for discussing it, it's called implementation intentions. Many people think that they lack motivation when what they really lack is clarity. They think that they need to get more motivated, that they need willpower in order to execute on a habit. If I just felt like writing, if I just felt like meditating, if I felt like working out, then I would do it. But in fact, they don't have a plan for it, so they wake up each day thinking, I wonder if I'll feel motivated to write today. I wonder if I'll feel motivated to work out today. But instead, you can take the decision making out of it by explicitly stating when, where, and how you want to implement the habit.
To me, basic SEAL training was a lifetime of challenges crammed into 6 months. So here are the 10 lessons I learned from basic SEAL training that hopefully will be of value to you as you move forward in life. Every morning in SEAL training, my instructors, who at the time were all Vietnam veterans, would show up in my barracks room, and the first thing they'd do was inspect my bed. If you did it right, the corners would be square, the covers would be pulled tight, the pillow centered just under the headboard, and the extra blanket folded neatly at the foot of the rack. It was a simple task, mundane at best, but every morning we were required to make our bed to perfection. It seemed a little ridiculous at the time, particularly in light of the fact that we were aspiring to be real warriors, tough, battle-hardened SEALs. But the wisdom of this simple act has been proven to me many times over. If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task, and another, and another. And by the end of the day, that one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that the little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you'll never be able to do the big things right. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made, that you made. And a made bed gives you encouragement that tomorrow will be better. So if you want to change the world, start off by making your bed.
You start small, you get these small victories that give you that momentum and give you that sort of drive to move forward and go for the next challenge. But you can't expect to suddenly go, right, from now on, I'm going to be boundaried and assertive and strong and
become an overnight hard ass.
yeah, right. It's just not going to happen. You have to do these things gradually and start with the easiest thing. Something that almost feels a bit silly, that's so easy. It's almost a bit kind of, really? Am I starting here? But then you get that little easy victory and then you move on to the next one, which is a little bit more difficult and so on.
Gideon hiding under the floor, trembling in fear from the enemy outside. And then the manufacturer shows up. Good evening, Gideon. Do you know who you are? You are a mighty man of valor. Gideon says, who you talking to? You see, when you meet yourself, you can't believe yourself. And we are so corrupted by our culture, we actually argue with ourselves with good arguments. And the manufacturer says, you are a mighty man of valor. He says, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a fleece outside in the morning. If it's wet, I'll believe you. So he put the fleece, it's wet. He said, just to make sure, I'll put it out again if it's dry in the morning. In other words, here we are fussing with ourselves. You know why I came here to this conference? I came here to introduce you to yourself. What you are doing is embarrassing to God. What you are proud of, he's ashamed of. What you settle for is a shock to heaven. You got to discover something. And that's where leadership begins. It begins with self-discovery.
You have to kind of treat yourself like a stranger to figure that out because, well, as you said, you know, you haven't been able to find your path precisely. Well, that means you don't know who the hell you are. Well, that's what it means fundamentally. You know, you may know some things about yourself, but you don't know yourself as deeply as you might. You have to understand that there's a certain degree of arbitrary strangeness about you and about the things that will compel you and grip you. You need to discover what those are. And paying attention can help. It's like, where am I when I think I'm where I should be? And what am I doing?
Deep down in your heart, you know that you're not living to your potential. And life is now something you're just getting on with.
I look around at people so often, they're so unhappy, and I think the reason is that they don't ever win the game of life. It's a game they feel like they can't win, like they're always losing. And the reason, number one, is they don't know the purpose of the game.
That's why people wake up in a rut. Their life has no purpose, no meaning. They're not morning people. I'm just not a morning person. You're not a morning person because you're not living in your purpose. See, you hate waking up because you're waking up and you don't know the reason. You're waking up and you don't have no design in mind.
It takes guts to believe. And if you think something's going to do it for you without you putting your guts on the line, you might as well forget it right now. You're so scared of failing, you don't even want to get your hopes up. And if you don't get your hopes up, you might say, well, what if they get their hopes up and somebody gets disappointed? How many disappointments have we experienced in our business careers and in our lives? The difference is some people take disappointment and let it destroy them. Other people take disappointment and let it drive them. And you get to choose. Are you going to turn this thing into why it didn't work and a bunch of stories and excuses? Or are you going to take this thing that didn't work and figure out what are you going to do to make it work? And it may not happen the first time, the second time, the third time, but the people that are relentless find a way. What I hope is people watching the stuff, maybe something in here will piss them off enough, or remind them of something, or say there is a plan, and it isn't just luck, and if I just get my big enough why, and I keep learning and keep moving forward, I will get there.